coming in as we're talking here.
Let's do Jimmy Dore next. And this will be my warm up for the last story.
Let me
and we definitely gonna need some help from y'all down in the comment section on the last story. I'm at my wit's end and I don't really know what to do besides yell in the camera or go punch somebody. So trying to avoid the violence and trying to avoid a felony. My aunt's in here. I don't want her to have to come bail me out. So yeah,
anyway. We'll start here in a second. Let me get this all set up.
So for those of you, I'll give you some background. So for those of y'all don't know, Jimmy Dore is a YouTuber. He is a self-professed progressive comedian, former comedian, because I mean he doesn't do stand-up comedy anymore. He hasn't done comedy since the pandemic. And even before that, he wasn't really touring to do stuff funny. He was all political. He was a correspondent for the Young Turks and eventually worked his way up in the Young Turks. And then when he realized that he couldn't be the man, he left and went and started his own podcast back in 2016. He currently has 857,000 subs. He has a really huge audience and channel. He spends most of his time he used to spend most of his time attacking the establishment. Some would say he currently does that now. Others say he is just bashing the progressive left. And I tend to agree with that idea. And the reason why he's doing it is because he is recording all these videos in his garage of his house that costs $1.9 million in California. Secondly, he gets so many views. I estimated this dude is doing close to $1 million a year from YouTube alone. So, taking all that into consideration, it is expedient for him to exploit the people or talking points that are going to net him the most views, comments, shares. So, I don't know if we have...
And let's be clear. There's nothing wrong with him doing that. That's something that we all...
We support
We
that.
support... Like, me and Eric have downloaded our analytics to get better at YouTube and get better at giving people information. And that's okay. The problem we have with Jimmy is sort of embodied in this video that we're going to play of Jimmy. So let's play this quick clip real quick. Because you know what Jimmy can't handle? He can't handle...
criticism.
Exactly. So let's
over Russiagate, there's been a culture developing that calls for internet censorship. And we saw figures on the left calling for censorship, pleading for the unaccountable authority of faceless Silicon Valley employees to protect us from our own thoughts and the thoughts of others. And now the left is being suppressed on Facebook and other platforms. What is it going to take, Glenn, for the left to understand that we can't let Silicon Valley pick and choose who gets free speech or not?
I don't know. I mean, I wish I knew the answer to that. I was just actually watching.
And this question right here is sort of the premise of how like all of this came to be for me and Eric. He is comfortable, and I'm reading A Promised Land right now, the book of Obama's memoir, and he made a comment in the second part, I think chapter 5, where he talks about how the left is too comfortable throwing their own under the bus instead of giving them a platform or giving them the grace to kind of perform. This is something that Jimmy has done hundreds of times. He doesn't bring up AOC because AOC is doing something diabolical or isn't doing her best to keep up with the constant changing tune of politics. He's upset with her because he's not doing it his way. Keep in mind, Jimmy, you didn't win an election. You're a constituent. You didn't do anything that would grant you the following other than your Facebook, your Twitter, and your YouTube following. You did none of that. You could have easily ran and become a rep in your district and migrated up the polls and truly push your agenda. But this story also plays in tandem with another story that we wanted to talk about that refers to how pushing the vote for healthcare was such a big thing. When we know that pushing the vote for healthcare doesn't guarantee us anything, because that healthcare system is still systemically racist in its actions. So it's not going to benefit us if we have free healthcare. It's just a free way for us to be damaged in that system. It has to be a reform. A way that you could easily point out someone's flagrancy is by pointing out something that the hypocrisy of putting Harriet Tubman on the $20 bill. Stop all that nonsense. Let's talk about putting Harriet Tubman on the check for the reparations.
We can't afford that check. We already talked about that. We can't afford the reparations.
So and if you were truly being progressive, because Eric's absolutely right, that reparations is a total nightmare, and it's almost impossible to implement and think of the budget. Oh my goodness, Eric's right. But you know what wouldn't hurt? Giving all those black people that you want to give reparations to, why don't you make sure they don't have to pay taxes? For what, 10 years?
Oh, yeah. I don't know about that. We need to be in the serious conversation about that. But let's stick to this man and his methods, because I think the funny thing is, what I notice about him is the same problem we have in all of the social media world, politics, is that people live in echo chambers. The first time we talked about this dude, we got so many thumbs down. You know why? Because those people that go over to his channel live in an echo chamber. It's going to be the same people when we post this video, because we got his name in the tags. They're going to come over here and see this and get all in their little feelings.
We see you in your feelings.
We know you are. We expect you to give us a thumbs down. We actually welcome you giving us a thumbs down. And what we really want you to do is put your big girl and big boy panties on and come down here in the comment section and tell us why. But you're not going to do that because you don't want us to know who you are, because you're a coward just like this freaking guy. I'm just going to take over this conversation real quick. See, the problem with this guy is, this is the guy who probably got bullied in high school. He's the guy that got stood up for prom. He's the guy that didn't get picked to dance. He's the guy who shot his shot and got ridiculed in front of all the pretty girls. This is this guy. Let me say, before I get on my next point, let me just say, he was a comedian. Who the heck knew that he was a comedian before his YouTube channel blew up? I'm just saying. Very few people. A very niche community. How many people knew that he was a comedian before he went on Joe Rogan? Because I sure as heck didn't. I'm just saying. How many people knew that he toured around, that he had a Comedy Central special before he got on YouTube and went on Joe Rogan? Nobody. I'm just saying. This guy whiffs. And I mean, he keeps freaking whiffing. All right, second point. Jimmy Dore is a terrible judge of character. We got proof. He's got all his videos from 2016 forward up. He was all about AOC. All about AOC. Now he spent the last 4 months talking trash about AOC. He was all about Bernie. Then he got mad in his feelings. And I watched the video live where he tried to justify the actions of Bernie Sanders during the primary. He whiffed on Bernie. He whiffed on Tulsi. He whiffed on Andrew Yang. Every guy and gal that this dude has got behind has done something unsavory in his opinion now. Yeah. I was like,
the reason why they whiffed is because they've done something unsavory, and that's why. Not because you're a bad judge.
No, hold on. Those people aren't bad judges of character. Mm-hmm. He whiffed because he didn't do his due diligence. They were saying something at the time that he agreed with, and he was all gung-ho about it. See, that's his thing. He gets on one. He gets gung-ho. He doesn't actually wait and see what people do, and then he gets pissed when he sees what they do. You loser, you believe their words first, and you didn't wait to see what they actually would do. You didn't wait. And this is how I know what you're doing right now is for clicks. This is what you're doing. You're doing it for clicks. You're doing it for likes. You're doing it for engagement. You're doing it for revenue. Google AdSense. This is what you're doing this for. Because if somebody was to go back in your archive and pull all the videos where you were giving these people the reach around and then compare it to what you're doing today, people would say that Jimmy Dore is confused. And I'm going to tell you right now, the guy's freaking confused. Shout out to the comment section. Christian didn't even know who he was until 5 minutes ago. That's what I'm saying. For him to have almost 1 million subs and still be obscure and the stuff that he's talking about, some people agree with it. Some people get gassed up by it, but they're not stopping to think that this guy whiffs. And I promise you, the game that's being played by these people that he's talking about, and I'm gonna say namely AOC, eventually, when she gets the results that she's quietly grinding to get, then he's gonna come back and not apologize, not gonna say nothing. He's not gonna admit he's wrong. He's got too big of an ego. He wanted to be the man over at Young Turks, and when Cenk Uygur put his dick on the table, it's like, nah, sir, this is my thing. He went and got huffy puffy, went, took his ball, and went and started his own little sandbox. He's still nowhere close to the Young Turks' reach and influence. I mean, they still 5 times as big as he is. And he's spent every moment the last 3 or 4 months attacking Cenk. You know why? Because Cenk's the man. Cenk's been on the big stage. And he has.
That's crazy to me. It's just like, you talk about being progressive, right? You talk about being this forward-leaning ideology that wants to move things together and collectively move a group of people together. But because you're so focused in on tearing the inner workings of the progressive movement down to fit your narrative, no one knows who you are outside of your echo chamber. It's easy to make your money. And you know what? You don't even have to admit this, but you can give a wink and a nod. As me and Eric have been creating content for the longest now, we have a better understanding of what gets traction. Just say that. Just be about that. We would have no beef. There's the Brandon Tatum Logans and all of them, the Tim Pools. They don't come on here trying to progress a movement. They just come on here to tell a story to their audience. Be a storyteller. Be quiet about the things that you don't really understand. Because every time someone has brought pressure to you about politics and how you don't really understand what it takes to be a politician and move a progressive motion forward, his go-to excuse is that he's a comedian. And by Eric's definition and explanation, you're not really good at that either. So just stay quiet, bro. Just leave this shit alone. Because the truth is, for every time you get up here and get your base riled up to talk about something they inherently have no understanding about, you get people like me and Eric in trouble. You put people like me and Eric at a disadvantage to go get the things we really need. And that's not fair.
Yeah. I mean, this guy's on here talking the entire time about Medicare for all, Medicare for all, Medicare for all. I'm like, all right, cool, bro. Listen, I'm a big fan of Milton Friedman. Actually, funny, I was listening to him today. He's one of my favorite economists. But he's pretty much a free market capitalist, hardcore. However, he does acknowledge that there are some things that the government would be better at handling. I personally believe that healthcare is something that the government should handle. That's my personal feeling. But Medicare for all, I think me and Jimmy would agree there. I think you would agree with that. The issue that we have with Jimmy is the people who are still being underserved medically are going to be the people who continue to be underserved medically. And once you start putting these government restrictions on physicians, everything is going to bottleneck. And guess who's going to suffer? Those who are currently underserved. But you're not even dealing with that issue. To me, it's intellectually dishonest. It shows a lack of research, a lack of effort on your part. And you have chosen not to say anything about that because it's not financially beneficial for you to do so. So I'm just saying, like, if you're going to be about it, be all the way about it and be about it for the right reasons, but you're not talking about the underserved people. And it honestly is mostly black folks, but it ain't just black folks. It is Hispanics. It is poor white people. You're not talking about that. You know why? Because if you start talking about that, you're gonna lose a lot of your subscriber base. And if you lose subscriber base, that means you lose views, engagement, comments, interactions, watch time is gonna greatly decrease, which affects your bottom line. And that's all that it's about.
And the next story we're going to talk about is going to be about this, but, you know, we just wanted to bring light to this. And we also wanted to, you know, formally poke the bear that is Jimmy Dore's fans. Come at us, bro. We welcome you into the booth where you can identify with these hands or this comment section. But either way it goes, hey, we're happy to have you here. So let's make this video the #1 downvoted video on our page. We greatly appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Eric, where the freak can they find us?
Right here on YouTube, live, in your face. Also, right on Facebook Live. Shout out to the people rocking with us on Facebook Live. We over there. We also on Periscope. We also on Twitch. Shoot, we finna be on LinkedIn soon. I'm gonna have to watch my tone because there's a lot of professional people over there that follow me that I know that if I start talking reckless, I'm going to HR. But I don't really care at this point. I really don't care.
We're not letting Eric go to HR, guys. We're not gonna let Eric go to HR. We promise.
So anyway, man, please make sure you go over there, like, follow, thumbs up, thumbs down, whatever you feel. Drop us a comment, leave us a question, suggestion. We take all of it under advisement. Most importantly, set those notifications to all, so as soon as we go live, we drop a video, and then you guys can come in and identify with us.
Shorty on my line and we fuss and fight. Seems like every night. Don't care who's wrong or right. I hope the end is sight. Slow it down and we can catch the vibes.